How are you today?
Good. It's kind of a bit brisk, but looking forward to spring.
Can I start by saying it's an honour to be speaking to you?
Thank you. And it's an honour for me to be talking to you.
Oh, thank you very much. You must have done hundreds of these interviews over your, 45 years in the music industry.
Well, I would have done thousands of them, but look, that's okay though, isn't it? As long as you keep coming up with something reasonably interesting to say.
Well, you must be a good talker. You're certainly a good writer. You've got a lot to say in your songs. Do you even have a clue how many songs you've written over the years?
I thought it was about 400, but I may be sort of, because there's lots of unrecorded songs. I've recorded, I'm well past the 40 album stage, but they're not all my songs. So if I say that 70% of them are original songs, I must be up to around close to the 300 mark that have been recorded. But I could be a little bit wrong.
Have you ever had moments where your enthusiasm or passion has faded for music?
No, I don't think yes, there was a time I decided that I was thinking that a fat, bald-headed guy is not going to be much of a front man for a rock and roll band. You want skinny legs, tall, lots of hair, and so I thought I was going to hang up my shingles for a minute, and I started a cafe, which is probably the worst thing I ever did, and I stopped writing songs for a little while and got into the business of communication with cafe lattes with soy milk and skinny milk and baby chinos, and I felt that wasn't really for me, though I did like talking to people. And the day I gave the keys back, I started writing songs again. So I didn't stop playing, but I just kind of, I thought that, at that time I probably couldn't go any further, but it turned out that I could go further and realised what I actually really liked about what I was doing. And it wasn't about being successful so much, everybody wants to be successful, but it was more about trying to be as creative as you can be on your terms.
You did at one stage own or part own a recording studio in Melbourne, didn't you?
Yes, well, I still have. I still got the building. I have too many kids, and by the time my early kids suffered a little bit because I wasn't there, and I've got a young family again, and I just want to spend more time with them. So I gave up the studio working there, and just kept the building and gave it to someone else who was had that same kind of passion for it. So for me, I realised I didn't really need a recording studio. What I needed to do was to write songs and then go into a recording studio. But there was you got to remember, I'm Maltese. Maltese don't like debt. Well, nobody likes debt, but they have a problem with, hire purchase or anything like that. I would take hire purchase and I would pay it off immediately. I just say, I don't want to have this debt on my head. I don't want to feel like I have to work for this piece of outboard gear. If I can't afford it, I'm not having it. So I was a bit crazy like that. So I felt that after, I wasn't sort of let down by any record companies, so to speak, but occasionally you feel that you weren't treated fairly. I felt, well, if I buy all the gear, then no one can take whatever you do away from you. And it wasn't until later on I realised that wasn't necessarily the case. No one can do that anyway. You don't need all the paraphernalia. So I let it go and spend a little bit more time not having. And the worst thing is trying to chase money from musicians. I'm a musician myself. I know the struggle. I don't want to be ringing people up every day and saying, look, Jim, I need this money, I need you to pay the bill, I find that I have a struggle with that. I really find it very difficult, regardless of where I'm at financially. I still have a struggle with that. So, I let it go, and now I just basically play, write songs and make music, and it's kind of my perfect life to some degree.
And you tour constantly.
And I'm touring constantly, and it's almost my social life, really. If I'm not working and my kids aren't around me, I feel kind of really lost, like a lost soul. But that's just between me and you.
I'm sure you've written a song about that at some stage.
Well, yeah, things like that. Though I'm finding that the songs now that me and Nick are coming up with, we're trying to find some new ground. And so we're sort of, for this next project, we're well over 20, 25 songs into getting it for the next project. Now, most of those songs probably won't work. They're good songs individually, but we're now trying to sort of make songs work a little bit better in a form that represents itself as what you're doing at this particular point of time. Because you do, in my case, me and Nick, we do write lots of different things, and more often than not, I just try to cramp them in because I just like them. You know, you fall in love with them. You fall in love with the idea, and you love singing them until you find something else that you want to, you know, for that period of time. You think, wow, I've just written this really, you know, this has come from nowhere. This song, and I really enjoy it, and I'm playing it live, and I'm really enjoying it, and so it's great. But then you've got to try to put these pieces, the songs together like a jigsaw puzzle, and that's always eluded me, the seamless record. You know, the record that I think it always will elude me, but I keep striving.
Yeah, well, 25 songs isn't too much because your latest release, Crooked Little Thoughts, is 3 CDs with 24 songs.
That's right, and I recorded 34 songs. We ended up with quite a few songs left over. But the reason I only put 24 songs on Crooked Little Thoughts is I wanted that experience that I used to have as a vinyl collector, which I've become again, where you've got the book, you're looking at the art, you've got the lyrics, you can see who's actually playing on the song underneath the lyric, you've got this record going, and 8 songs, you think that's probably enough to listen to for one sitting. And you know, normally if you had vinyl, you get up and you turn it over and play the next side. And I kind of wanted to create that experience for the listener. And I kept it. And I felt that 10 songs was too long because it's like an album within itself. But I thought 8 songs. Normally you'd only get about 6 songs on a vinyl, but I thought that wasn't enough. So I compromised with myself, and I did it that way. And I hope people find it that way. I don't think you can play 24 songs in a row. You could have done that on 2 discs, but I just felt that it was a nice thing to do, and I thought the book was really interesting, and it created something that no one has done before. To my knowledge, they might have done something like that. Whereas you can actually get inside the painting and get involved with that. When I gave Victor Rubin the music, I left him with the music. I didn't want to get involved in his art, and I like that because for me there are some paintings that I don't understand, and I'm sure from his point of view as a listener, there's probably some songs that he didn't particularly enjoy, or you know, we've never discussed this, but I'm assuming that this is the case.
Yeah, we should tell people that it's a 3 CD set with 24 songs, a deluxe hardcover book, and each song is accompanied by a painting from Victor Rubin.
That's right, and it's also got the backstory of the making of the record. You know, I tend to like to give credit to the people that have worked with me and working alongside me.
Which then leads us on to your feature-length documentary, Australia's Maltese Falcon.
Yes, well, I'm not really happy with that title, but